You know, it's week 1, and I already have a headache. That's just great. That's just great. You know, I actually did feel good as a Lions fan coming into this game. Silly me. I actually did feel good coming into this game. Silly me. Alright, man, as Trickene says best, let's talk about it. Let's talk about whatever the heck that was that, that we just got done watching, man. Alright, let's just get into it. Give me a minute, please, to take care of some business, and then we will talk about, again, whatever the heck that was. So first of all, I want to thank the sponsor of this video. This video is sponsored by Michigan-based Roast Summer Coffee. They've got hot coffee, cold brews, chocolate, and you know what? Hopefully soon, maybe they start selling some hard alcohol too, so that we can just, you know, sip on that after a game like this and maybe get so hammered that we don't even remember that we watched this game. You know? Like, hey, you get some roast number hard alcohol just to, you know, mix into your coffee and then just, yeah, cheers to whatever that was. Woo! And then you get so hammered that you don't even remember that this game happened. Like, you know, the Lions lost yesterday. I don't remember because I was so hammered. There you go. Here you go, Roast Number. Tony D's helping you out with a great idea. And then on the flip side, maybe after a big victory, you know, you can take, again, some hard alcohol from Roast Number, mix it in your coffee, and cheers to a good Lions victory. Like, you know, there you go. There you go, Roast Number. I'm helping you out here. But yeah, like I said, hot coffee, cold brews, chocolate, all kinds of great drinks and treats for you to try and enjoy. Visit our website, roastrumber.com. Link is in the description below. And if you find something that you want to try and make an order, you can always save some money on the order by using my code, TonyD. Shout out to Roast Number. Thank you once again for sponsoring this video. And also, if you can all please do me a favor, because I'm suffering over here talking about a game like that. Not actually, but obviously it's better to talk about, you know, a big win than talking about, like I said before, I'll say it again, whatever the heck that was that we just got done watching. So please do me a favor, leave a like on this one, leave a comment for how you're feeling after watching that mess. And hit that subscribe button. I would very much appreciate it. Alright. It takes care of my housekeeping. Let's talk about it. You know, I'll start by saying this. If you're expecting me to come in front of this camera and just have a massive overreaction, like, oh yeah, the same old Lions, we suck again, the season's over, fire everybody, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm just telling you how I feel. Every time I come in front of this camera, come in front of this microphone, I just tell you how I feel, and that's not how I feel right now. Like, I'm sorry to disappoint you if you were expecting that. But again, that's not what I'm going to sit here and do. I'm not going to sit here and doom and gloom, season's over, same old Lions. That's not what I'm gonna do. You know, it's week 1. Don't get me wrong, like, we'll talk about it, obviously. Like, that's not a good way to start the season, especially when it's in Lambeau, an NFC North battle against the Packers, who are very clearly going to be one of the top teams that you're going to have to compete against for not just the North, but the NFC as a whole. Like, that's a really tough loss to start the season. That's a tough performance offensively and defensively to start the season. That is true, but it's just one game. It's just the first game. Like, a lot of the guys didn't play in the preseason. It's the first game for Johnny Morton in this offense. It's the first game for Shep in this defense. Like, Tony Romo said it towards the end of the broadcast tonight. Like, the Lions that we saw today, I do not think this is going to be the Lions that we see throughout the entirety of the 2025 season. Like, I think we are going to improve as our guys play more, because, again, they didn't play in the preseason. And I think we're going to see the offense be better with Johnny Morton as we get going throughout the season. I think the defense will be better under Shep as things get going throughout the season. Like, yes, this loss sucked, but it's just week 1, okay? This sucked, but take a deep breath. I really don't think the season's over and same old Lions or anything like that after this loss, okay? Okay. Now, with all that said, that was ugly. That was ugly. There's no running away from that. There's no, like, I try to be as optimistic and as positive as I can be. But even I have to admit, that was ugly. That was really, really bad and really, really ugly. Offensively, defensively, hell, even special teams, like all the way around, man. That was an ugly, ugly start to this season. We'll start with the offense. Again, it's just one game. I don't want to go too crazy about, Johnny Morton and the play calling and just the fact that we didn't have a touchdown this game until the garbage time touchdown from Isaac Tisla, which was a really good catch, by the way. Shout out to him. That was his first NFL catch, right? Yeah, I got the stats pulled up right here. That was his first catch. Shout out to Isaac. That was really cool. But that still doesn't change the point, though. Like, before that, like, we didn't get in the end zone at all today. It was just, like I said, man, I don't mean to repeat myself here, but seriously, it was just ugly and bad all around today. And particularly, as we're talking about right now, on offense, just ugly football, bad football. I think the best way to put the offensive performance today for me, it was just yucky. It was boring. It was yucky and boring. I kind of feel like that's the best way to describe our offensive performance today. Yucky and boring, man. Like, it's crazy because there were points today where we were moving the football. Like, we were knocking on the door to get into the end zone when it was still a relatively close game, But we just never did. We would either settle for 3 or we would have the interception deep in Green Bay territory. Like, again, we were knocking on the door and just couldn't get in. And we were having long drives that were eating up a lot of clock. And we just wouldn't do anything. And again, man, I feel like I'm repeating myself here. I'm sorry if I am, but it's the truth, bro. Like, I don't know how else to describe it than this. Like, we would have long drives and eat up the clock, but it just wasn't good. It was boring. It just yucky. Just bad play calling. And we couldn't get the run game going. The offensive line was really bad. The offensive line was so bad, man. And, like, listen, I'm not going to come in front of this camera and be like, oh, Frank quit on this team. Like, I've seen some people say on Twitter, which I think is ridiculous, but that's neither here or there. Like, listen, as long as Frank is healthy, like, he's got to do what's best for him, As long as he's healthy and he's enjoying retirement with him and his family, he's got to do what's best for him and his family, okay? I hope he's healthy and enjoying retirement with the family. We really missed him today. We really, really missed him today. I noticed that really early in this ball game when this offensive line was struggling. It was like, oh man, we're really missing Frank Ragnow. And then as the game just kept going on and on and on, and the offensive line kept on struggling and struggling and struggling, both in the run game and just keeping Jared Goff upright and in the pocket, you could just tell we were really missing Frank Ragnow today. Like I said, man, it's just week 1. It's kind of a new-ish offensive line, so I'm expecting them to kind of get their stuff together as they get more reps together and as the season goes on. But, yeah, that was a really rough way for the offensive line to start the season. And just a rough way for this offense in general to start the season, too, And the same exact thing can be said about the defense, particularly in the first half. I guess they were a little bit better in the second half, but the defense still really wasn't good today, all things considered, Yeah, the same exact thing can be said about the defense. We struggled on third down, especially in the first half. We really weren't getting any pressure. We really were not getting pressure to Jordan Love today. Packers players were just wide open at points in this game, too, it felt like. Coaching-wise, there were some really questionable calls, coaching-wise, too, which, again, you would hope that's going to improve as the season goes on, but, like, still, why are we dropping Hutch into coverage on a big third down early in the football game? Why are we dropping Davenport back into coverage on third down early in the football game? Like, I know it wasn't just me. I saw people on Twitter saying the same exact thing. Why is Hutch going to coverage on this third down? Why is Davenport going to coverage on this third down? Like, what are we doing here, you know? Yeah, man, I don't know. I really don't know, as I talked about. Just questionable calls on offense and defense. Just a rough day on offense and defense. Really bad. Really bad. Really yucky. Not good. Not a good way to start this 2025 season. But I'm going to really try to hammer this point home here. Again, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I just really want to try to hammer this home. Like, I'm trying not to freak out too much because it's just week 1. You're hoping we see improvements on both sides of the ball sooner than later, obviously, you know. But yeah, that's not a good start to the season whatsoever. I don't think there is much more for me to say other than that. I don't think there is anything else that I particularly want to say about this football game either. So I think we will call it there. You know, actually, I will say this as we begin to close things out here in this video. I will say this. Losing this game, you would hope that this is another Dan Campbell Lions team loss where it just kind of wakes them up. You know, like we have seen this in previous years with a Dan Campbell Lions team. We saw it last season, we saw it in 23, and we even saw it at points in 2022, particularly in the second half of the season. Like, whenever a Dan Campbell Lions team loses, they take it to heart. They take it personally, and again, they just kind of use it as a wake-up call, and they bounce back immediately. We saw it in 22, we saw it in 23, we saw it in 24. Whenever we would lose, we woke up, we said, let's get our ish together, you know, and they bounce back immediately. So hopefully that happens again. Hopefully we can take this one, put it behind us, but at the same time use it as a wake-up call, and we bounce right back on offense, bounce right back on defense, and we bounce back as a team in our home opener against Chicago. At least we better. At least we better. You can't start the season 0-2. Starting 0-1, that's one thing. You can't start 0-2. You can't just let this, you know, spiral out of control. That's another thing. Like Dan Campbell Lions teams we've seen in previous years, they don't let one loss turn into 2 and then turn to 3 and then turn to 4 and so on and so forth, you know? You can't let this spiral out of control. It's not going to get easier, okay? Our schedule is brutal. Brutal. You can't let this spiral out of control. It's not going to get easier. It's another NFC North battle next week against Ben Johnson. Like, you have to win next week. You can't start the season 0-2. You can't start 0-2 in the division. Please bounce back next week, okay? Please just bounce back next week. Use this as a wake-up call, like I said. And as previous Lion teams have done, bounce right back after a loss. You kind of have to, I feel like. So, yeah. Please bounce back next week. Please bounce back next week at home against Chicago. All right? All right. I think that's everything. We'll call it here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it as always. As I said earlier in the video, leave a like on this one. Comment your thoughts on this loss down below. As a Lions fan, and hit that subscribe button. I very much appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, as always, go Lions, baby.